The Kenny Quest show was filmed live in front of a canned studio audience.
Hey folks, Kenny Quest here. The day has finally arrived where we can reveal the 1996 Harley Davidson Evo Softail Nostalgia, the Frankenglide, the bike with multiple personalities. It doesn't know what it is. It's got a Road King front end, it has a Fatboy tank, it has a deluxe rear end. It has multiple personalities. But one thing it does have is, it's mine. And Christina here is going to take the top off. Christina, it's all yours. Lovely job, Christina. Let's give her a round of applause. And there she is, folks, the Frankenglide. All right, guys, now that we have it all unwrapped and unveiled, let me walk you through some of the modifications that we did on this build. So before I get started, I'm going to throw up a picture of what the 1996 FLSTN looks like from the factory when you bought it off the showroom floor. As you can see, the design of the bike is very traditional, 1950s looking, if you will. The design of the bike was a collaboration between Willie G and his lead designer at the time to come up with a bike that was a tip of the hat to those 1950 style bikes. It came with leather saddlebags, a seat that was special to that particular model, and a lot of leather and tassels. And the previous owner kind of moved into a different direction. And initially when this bike caught my eye, I thought it was a Fatboy because of the unique feature of the FLSTN from 1993 to 1998, which is those bikes are the only non-Fatboy bikes that Harley's ever made to have a Fatboy tank. So the Nostalgia model basically has a Road King front end, a Fatboy tank, and what became later the Deluxe model in the 2000s rear end. The first thing that we did was a little bit of maintenance. Wanderer Moto took it for an immediate test drive. We noticed that the brake rotor in the rear was dished, so we replaced the rear and the front brake rotors. We cleaned out all of the gook that was in the braking system and flushed that out. And then Pedro changed all the fluids for the primary, oil, and transmission. The S&S air cleaner cover covers a CV carb, stock Harley CV carb. That came with the bike. I did change out some of the covers. Originally the bike came with Harley Davidson aftermarket catalog covers with the Live to Ride on it. I wanted something a little bit more understated and moving away from that 90s look. So I matched the S&S air cleaner with this derby cover here. The oil pressure indicator was full of oil, so I replaced that out with an aftermarket one. The Bassani 2-into-1 Road Rage exhaust came with the motorcycle. I was really happy about that, so I retained that. These are 1996 Road King saddlebags, hard bags, in the same color, Mystique Green. So I was lucky to spot those on eBay. It didn't come with any locks, so we installed locks in them. Pedro installed these cool little seat lock nut cover made out of dice. He also provided a valve cover in the dice as well. In the rear, Pedro fabricated these Sportster tail lights, and we put in Custom Dynamics LED. We retained the license plate holder which has built-in LED, and we retained the coffin tail light that came with the bike and put an LED bulb in there. Of course, to hold the saddlebags, we had to put a bracket system on, so the bike will hold the saddlebags. Found that on eBay. Down below, you can see my primary cover, replaced the Live the Ride with this early 80s Harley Davidson piece that I found. And then in the inspection cover, I found this cool two-piece cover. Normally, you'd see exposed screws, but it has a cover over it, so it covers up the screws. So I felt that it would match this area here better. We had a heel toe shifter. I had Pedro take that off. As you'll see in my next week video, I had a little bit of trouble with that on my first ride, and replaced it with the Kahuna Series shift lever and nut cover. The Kahuna Series matches the floorboards. The bike came with this freight train horn, which is really cool. Sounds really loud.
Market horn. Oh yeah, that thing's loud. You want to hear it?
Hell yeah!
It's like a truck, freight train.
That's awesome. So I appreciate that. Ordered this crash bar off of eBay, which built-in footrest, which is nice. I also ordered some touch-up paint, as we had some flaking going on here on the fins and in certain spot areas that were black. So I used some touch-up paint on that. Pedro did a really good job of buffing out the tank. The clear coat was kind of peeling away, and we kind of remedied that for now. Of course, the whole comfort and fit of this motorcycle is the T-bars. The T-bar setup's working great for me. We got Vans grips. Let me pause one moment on the Vans grips. This color was suggested by Pedro. He brought something to my attention. The ring on the gas tank is this same color, so that's where the color comes from. And it really just sets the bike off in a different direction, which I think is awesome. But I could not find these grips for the life of me. I looked everywhere on the interwebs, and I couldn't find them. And where I found them was on Instagram. A shop an hour and a half from my house, Gray Speed Cycles in St. Pete, had these grips. And they responded immediately to my inquiry, shipped them out the same day, and I received them the next day. They made me feel special about this build. The only vendor that really made me feel special about this build was Gray Speed Cycles. So they ship everywhere. Doesn't matter where you live, but if you live in Florida, check them out in person or go to grayspeed.com. New switch covers, reused the same switches, and new mirrors. The tank bib that came with it was leather. It was all chapped and cracked, so we replaced it. From JP Cycles, they sell this chrome look cover plate. Reused the gas caps, they're fine. The bike didn't come with any keys. We replaced the key switch with a new one. Went to my Harley dealer and bought a detachable windshield and these two pocket organizers, which are fantastic. Big enough to hold glasses, 2 pairs of glasses and some extra space in there. And of course the detachable windshield. Simple to pull off and remove and put back on. Nothing to it. So I can cruise around town without the windshield on, or if I'm going to hit the highway, put the windshield on. Very versatile. Got new rotors from Twin Power. I already mentioned the Brembo brakes up front. The tires are relatively new. They still have the little knobby fuzzy things. And the date code I checked, and they were put on last year. Let's see what else is new. This is a Clockworks fender and a Clockworks nacelle. They don't make the nacelle anymore. They still make the fender. And the previous owner purchased the nacelle and the fender and had it custom painted to match in the same period correct Mystique green and the pinstriping to match. So we retained that. Obviously, it's one of the features of the bike that I like the most. Got a new headlight. Pedro was unable to make the multi-function feature of the headlight work, so basically high beam, low beam, and daytime running light. And then we have on the nacelle are left and right signal indicators and these LED strips. Originally, we had them set up with daytime running light and indicating, but after my first weekend with the bike, I noticed that at certain times the running light would go off, and to be safe we disconnected that feature, and so now it just works as an indicator, and it's been working flawlessly ever since. The wheels that came with the bike I retained. These are Harley Davidson catalog wheels, 5 stars, that were available in that era. They're not the stock wheels that came with the bike. Who makes the seat? Lapera. The seat's a Lapera. It also came with the bike. As you can see, Pedro did a great job with the wiring harness underneath the seat and got rid of those gremlins that were popping up, and terminated everything nicely, ran all the wiring nicely into the harness, loomed it. So very happy with his results and his attention to detail. The brake lever and clutch lever were all pitted, so I replaced those with OEM style controls. Pedro redid all of the wiring using braided cables for the brake and clutch controls, and he internally wired those. So yeah, that pretty much covers it. That's why I affectionately call it the Frankenglide, because it's a mixture of 3 different bikes. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'm happy with it. I guess it all doesn't matter, but you know, does it look good? May not be your taste, but as far as a light touring motorcycle, I think it's pretty darn good. So how much did all this cost? Well, I got the bike just under $5,000. The cost of the parts, I ordered 36 different parts. We put in 34. The total of the parts was around 1,800 bucks. I set a budget for $8,000 for this build, and I'm happy to report I exactly hit $8,000. It was $7,996, and that's with the 2 parts that we didn't put on. So budget-wise, it worked out. All right, guys, there you have it. Everything about the Frankenglide. The Frankenglide build is complete. Pedro did a wonderful job. Wanderer Moto, thank you very much. I want to invite you back next week because I'm going to share with you my first ride. It wasn't all rainbows and roses. The first ride on this was very nerve-wracking, and I'm going to share that complete experience with you. So come back next week. In the meantime, if you ride, keep the shiny side up, and if you don't ride, what are you waiting for? Get your own classic Evo Harley Davidson. We'll see you next time.
Should I press stop or no? Keep it going?
You think she's authorized to touch the equipment?
I don't know.
Oh, you're not even at that level yet.
No. Forbidden.
Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications. Bye for now.